Ancient Egypt, A Gift of the Nile by LilianaMaya. Before 3000, the Egyptians developed a calendar irrigation system, the use of basic metals, and hieroglyphics, which was their own writing system. Until 1822, the glyphs simply represented complete ideas rather than individual units of sound. But it wasn't until that year that a Frenchman discovered the Rosetta Stone. On the Rosetta Stone, the same information is inscribed in 3 languages. 1. Hieroglyphic, which is a pictographic script. 2. Demotic script, a simplified form of hieroglyphic, which was the common language of Egypt in that time. And 3. Greek. By comparing the languages, hieroglyphics were finally translated in the early 19th century. Rosetta Stone is now in the British Museum in London. Religious beliefs. Egyptians worshipped many different gods. They also believed in cosmic forces: the sun, earth, sky, air, and water. The Nile was also worshipped. These forces and aspects of nature were depicted often as animals or humans. For example, the sun would sometimes be represented by a falcon-headed man wearing a sun disk as a crown. Civilization of the Nile. Ancient Egyptian civilization developed slowly from about 5000 to approximately 3100 BCE with no united or central government. Egypt was divided into 2: Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Here's a map of the Nile River along with the Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. There are also very important landmarks on it, such as where the Rosetta was found, the Giza pyramids, and other important monuments. Dynasties. Egyptian history is divided into approximately 30 dynasties. There is little information about the first two dynasties, but starting with the third, Egyptian dynasties are grouped. First is the Old Kingdom, from 2686 through 2181 before Common Era. That includes dynasties 3 through 6. Then there's the intermediate period of dynasties 7 through 10. Following is the Middle Kingdom of 2040 through 1786 before Common Era, including dynasties 11 through 14. Then there is a second intermediate period of dynasties 15 through 17. And last is a New Kingdom, or sometimes called Empire, which is from 1552 through 1069 before Common Era, including dynasties 18 through 20. The two Egypts unite. Around 3000, the two Egypts were united by the king of Upper Egypt, Nermer, also known as Menes. This event was so huge, it is said this is when Egyptian history began. The Palette of Nermer is the earliest surviving Egyptian stone sculpture to depict the well-celebrated event. This celebrated work is simultaneously a functional palette, an exquisite relief carving, and a historical document of the uniting of Lower and Upper Egypt by Nermer, the first pharaoh of the first Egyptian dynasty. Old Kingdom, greatest achievements, the Great Pyramids. Tradition said slaves built these giant funerary monuments to the kings. Now it's clear that artisans, sculptors, and builders were responsible also. Egyptians had strong willpower. It emphasizes the unity of the society. It took many people to come together to be able to accomplish these great pyramids. The Great Pyramids at Giza, located on the west bank of the Nile River, built in the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom. The 3 pyramids were built by the pharaohs Cheops, Khafre, and Mycerinus. Again, organization in Egypt is what was behind the pyramids. The stability of life and the highly centralized organization of ancient Egypt society is reflected in the pyramids. It's incredible to see how everyone was able to come together to make these pyramids. The pharaohs were considered divine. It was thought once the pharaoh died, he would return to the gods. Therefore, the pyramids were made to soar to heaven. The pyramids were made out of limestone and granite. The idea of the pyramids of lasting forever was linked with the Egyptian belief of afterlife. The Old Kingdom Egyptians believed that the body of the deceased must be preserved if the Ka were to live on. Ka is the indestructible essence of each person. From a Christian point of view, you could see it as a soul. This is why the Egyptians went to the process of mummification. The process took 70 days to complete. The body cavities were emptied and refilled with spices to help preserve the body. Then they were wrapped in several layers of bandages. Egyptians believed in the necessity of housing the dead in a tomb that would endure forever for the benefit of the Ka, resulting in great architectural structures such as the pyramids. Middle Kingdom. After the collapse of the Old Kingdom, a period of political and social instability began. For over 150 years, Egypt was once again split. Around 2040, a prince from Thebes managed to unite the Egypts again. Under new conditions, the country prospered like never before. Farming increased tremendously. Large-scale irrigation systems were constructed from the Nile River. As far as architecture in the Middle Kingdom, a few traces of pyramids remain. They appear to have been similar to those of the Old Kingdom, but smaller, and a number of rock-cut tombs, burial places hollowed out of the faces of cliffs, survive. These are to be found at Beni Hassan, located 125 miles out the river from Giza. New Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom ended with the invasion of the Hyksos. The Hyksos invaded Egypt with superior weapons. These weapons were bronze weapons and chariots. The Egyptians were easily defeated because they didn't have many weapons to defend themselves with. Therefore, for over 200 years, Egypt was once again divided. But in 1522, the Egyptians regained power, and Egypt became the most powerful state because it was once again united. The New Kingdom, or Empire, established its capital at Thebes. Everyone knew the value inside the pyramids. Not only was there a pharaoh, but valuables were also hidden inside. This became very attractive to robbers. Therefore, royalty was buried in chambers hollowed deep into the cliffs of the wild bank of the Nile River in the Valley of King at Thebes. Although the Egyptians used many clever tricks to block the entrance to their chambers, in 1922, somebody was able to pass all those tricks. The shaft tomb of King Tut was discovered almost intact. There is still a lot to learn from Egypt. It's incredible to see how much the Egyptians were able to accomplish in their time with very little resources. They definitely teach the rest of the cultures that everything is possible if you're able to come together as one. Although Egypt was divided into several times, Egypt was able to come together over and over again, and they accomplished many good things together. So it teaches us that together everything is possible, and no matter what, if you want to do it and you have a group behind you willing to do something, everything is possible. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed.